And welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of the Shaving Points podcast. My name is Jayton May. You can find me on Twitter at JMay56. And I'm joined, as always, by my co host, Quentin Crisco. How are we doing tonight, Quentin?
Absolutely devastated.
Devastated.
Chicago Bears just let me down, man. I should be
Yeah, it was
used
a
to
rough
this by
week.
now. I should be used to this by now, but I thought they could beat Washington of all teams. But
The football commanders aren't good.
I did have a
Taylor
6 and
Heineke's
4
going to
week
play for him, though.
to fall back on, which is nice. It helps with my devastation a little.
Yeah, I had a 2 and 4 week. Wasn't good. Jacksonville money line screwed us. Chicago screwed us. And then my Kansas City +3, Buffalo, Kansas City Buffalo over 54. Got absolutely screwed on. That over should have been an easy over. I should have gone 3-3 at the absolute worst. The fact that that over didn't hit is an absolute travesty. You have two of the best offenses in football. You have 3 turnovers inside the 5-yard line. You have a missed field goal. 3 turnovers on downs throughout the game. Just rough showing for overs. Missed about 14 points, left at least 21 points on the board. Yeah, just not a great showing. And then Patrick Mahomes, our Lord and Savior, the greatest of all time, throws a bad interception on the last play of the game or last drive to go down there and get the win. So tough weekend altogether.
Yeah.
I thought for sure going into that game I was gonna finish the week at 4-2. And that's what sucks about doubling down on games when you don't have a whole lot of picks, because nailed the New England pick, nailed the Jets pick, and Chicago was a toss-up. They had every opportunity to win.
Well, I mean,
But Jacksonville was my only bad pick, even though I went 2-4.
Even Jacksonville wasn't a bad pick. So to back it up to the Chicago game, the Bears were inside the 5-yard line 3 times and got no points out of it. They lost by 5. I mean, Justin Fields threw 2 touchdown passes in the final minute, both of which were dropped. I mean, I still think that's a good bet. On the Jacksonville game, Jacksonville was leading from the 3-minute mark of the first quarter until the final 17 seconds.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Matt Ryan just decided to turn into the Matty Ice of old. He was getting the ball out quick. The offensive line still wasn't good, but he was getting the ball out. Alec Pierce had himself a big game. That Damian, who's their backup running back that had a big game. Damian.
I don't even remember his name. That's how new he is.
I had him in fantasy.
He's playing well.
He's out for the season, I think, but he was playing very well.
I
think Jonathan Taylor's coming back for him. The KC game was rough.
I mean, Kansas City was covering all game.
Yeah,
until that final touchdown pass. It was all near misses. It was all bad beats, essentially, and they happen,
Yeah, I just want to get back on track. This is the week to do it, but I don't know if this is the week to do it, because this
I don't know.
This slate of games is a little rough.
I think Vegas lost a lot of money on some money lines last week, and they're making it back this week. It's a lot of spreads that I do not like this week.
Yeah, so we can just hop right into this week's spread, starting out with Thursday Night Football. This is a system play here for me. I have Arizona -1.5. We have back-to-back road dogs winning outright, when historically home teams win on
60%.
60% rate. So it's got to come back eventually. DeAndre Hopkins is back this week. He is back, the man himself. So being a Thursday night game, getting their best player back, I don't know who's playing quarterback for New Orleans this week. It might be Jameis. It might be Dalton. Who else? I don't even know who else it could be.
I think it's probably
Taysom Hill might play. I don't know. Don't matter. I love DeAndre Hopkins to have a big game. Maybe DeAndre Hopkins' first touchdown. Maybe take his over on yards. Maybe take his over on catches. They just lost Hollywood Brown for the season, which sucks, because I thought him and DeAndre would complement each other fantastically. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen for him, but still love Arizona here. System play, home team. Home teams cover. DeAndre Hopkins is back. Cliff Kingsbury is fighting tooth and nail for his job. Kyler Murray is what he is at this point. I don't know what to say about Kyler Murray, but Arizona's got to get this thing back on track, get the ball rolling. Like I said, Cliff is coaching for his job. Give me Arizona.
Robbie Anderson, baby. Robbie Anderson game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't even play this week, honestly. Short week, just got traded yesterday. But he might. 3 days notice. We'll see. But, he could be I think I might like the Robbie Anderson compliment to DeAndre Hopkins better than Hollywood Brown, and they got him for nothing.
I think I would. As long as he's good mentally and not like causing issues in the locker room. I think Robbie Anderson's a really good player. He's
a bigger body, and he does everything that Hollywood Brown does, but he's bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And sucks for Hollywood Brown. He didn't really do anything. He didn't get the contract extension. He's on year 5. So, but who knows? This wide receiver market.
They're going to extend him. You don't give a first round pick for him if you're not going to extend him.
You do if you fire Cliff Kingsbury.
Maybe.
Because then, who knows if he made the decision or not? But you always have that.
Can we talk about Arizona's situation? Like, they extended their GM and their head coach with the quarterback. Like, they're kind of in a. Like, are you going to fire both those guys and need all that money?
They didn't extend their head coach. They extended their GM and their quarterback. Cliff didn't get an extension.
I thought they all did.
Cliff got an extension after year 1.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking then.
But
either way, like Keim is still extended, so like he's the guy who gave the pickup.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do about that. And then Cliff is saying all the regular things like, if I need to give up play calling to make this team better, I will. And it's just like, I think Cliff is what he is at this point. He was at Texas Tech for 5 years. He's a 500 coach. He's been at Arizona now for 3 years. He's a 500 coach. He might just be a 500 coach.
Yeah. Yeah. That hire was a real surprise. No one expected him to be getting a head coaching call.
If you have a 10-year resume that's perfectly average, that's probably exactly what you are. It's perfectly average. And that's okay. That's better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
You might get another head coaching job because they're like, well, the question marks about Kyler are crazy. And Cliff was a Kyler guy, so maybe you can throw that on him. But then you could also look at it and be like, oh, well, maybe the Panthers are like, well, if we get CJ Stroud and go get Cliff Kingsbury, like maybe we turn this thing around.
Hey, his QB development track record is pretty solid.
I wouldn't blame him one bit if they did it either.
Yeah.
Or
actually, I should run numbers on that. The percentage of like first round draft picks who reach like a championship game with the head coach they were drafted to. Like, I feel like there's always the coach that gets the team to the point of contention, and then the coach who takes them over the hump.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. You had Joe Burrow get there. You had Patrick Mahomes win. You had Tom Brady, of course. Ben Roethlisberger did it with the coach that drafted him. Eli Manning did it with the coach that drafted him. But the majority of our Super Bowl appearances and winners of late have been for the most part, pretty consistent.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of outliers there. Maybe.
Well, that's why I was saying championship game, because it's a pretty small pool with just Super Bowls.
So look at last year, both teams.
So Josh Allen, Josh Allen ain't reached the championship.
Oh, you're not talking about Super Bowl?
No, I'm not talking about Super Bowl. I'm talking about, I guess win a playoff game
conference.
Is probably the way to do it. Yeah,
conference championship. Okay, yeah. That extends the pool quite a bit.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about Super Bowl appearances, but yeah, that'd be something interesting to dive into. But yeah, I have Arizona here -1.5. I think they get back on track. Last year, when the season started. They started out hot. DeAndre Hopkins was a monster. He was on fire. I think they can get back to that point. I like Arizona here. -1.5. I don't think New Orleans is that good. Their defense hasn't been as good as we thought it would be. So, yeah, give me Arizona -1.5.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about this game and, like, I wanted to take New Orleans, but the fact that home teams have such an advantage on Thursday nights, I just decided to stay away. If it was like a 3-point spread, I probably would have taken New Orleans, but 1.5 was just too tight to not be not like whoever wins the game is probably going to cover, you know?
Yeah, no, I feel you. Then moving on to the next one, we'll go to Tennessee, Indianapolis. I believe this game is in Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
You sure about that? We had some confusions with this last week.
We've had some confusions with this for weeks, actually. I'm very I have issues with figuring out who's at home and who's on the road. But
I'm gonna fact check you real quick.
I triple checked them this time.
Triple checked.
Yeah.
Let's go look. Let's see how good your checking is. Week 7. This game is in Tennessee.
Yes.
Look at us. Look at us being a professional setting here. All right, so we're on different sides here. This is when Tennessee gets the ball rolling. This is when Vrabel puts his nuts on the table and makes like a 5-game winning streak. And I mean, they started out. I mean, I think they're 3 game winning streak right now. After start 0-2, everybody buried them. I mean, they got the ball rolling. King Henry is doing his thing. They have a young quarterback that is supposedly looking great in practice. Ryan Tannehill. Malik?
Yeah.
He's not playing.
Okay. Well, I was just curious because that would make me more concerned about my bet on the other side.
He's putting the pressure on Ryan Tannehill. Apparently, he's been looking fantastic in practice. And so Ryan Tannehill's been looking better. But they've been running the ball well. They've been playing good defense. They're doing exactly what Tennessee does midway through the season. They're a hard team to beat. They're going to be well coached. They're going to run the ball well. They're not going to throw it a whole lot. They're not going to give you a whole lot of chances for opportunity. And if they get the opportunity, they're going to put their foot on your throat and choke you out. So give me Tennessee at home versus a bad Indianapolis team. I mean, if we're Matt Ryan, do you know who holds the record for the most pass attempts in a game for an Indianapolis Colt?
Matt Ryan?
Yeah, as of 6 days ago.
Yeah.
That's stupid. You had Peyton Manning. You had Johnny Unitas.
I'm shocked it's not Andrew Luck.
You had Andrew Luck.
Because he had some games that were just like insane. I wonder if that includes that playoff game where he came back from down like 35.
Includes every game. The most, maybe it was in a win. I don't know.
I think it was in a win. Well, no, because Luck won that game. I'm shocked. It might just be a regular season number.
No, it's not. I mean, it was. I mean, Matt Ryan threw the ball. I want to say, I cannot pull up the box score here. This is getting ridiculous.
It was like 50 times.
54, I believe. You keep talking. I'll get you the exact number here in a second.
So, I got Indy +3 on this.
58 times.
58 times. Because really, when I'm looking at this game, I'm thinking back to 2 weeks ago when they played in Indy. And Indy lost that game by 7. They fumbled the ball 3 times. They crossed the 57 times and only scored in 3 of those chances.
But
they trailed 14-0 after the first quarter. They basically messed up a bunch in the first quarter, and then we're playing catch up the rest of the game. I mean, they outscored them 24-3 the rest of the game, but they couldn't quite catch up. And some of that obviously is Tennessee milking the clock, playing prevent, whatever. But they outgained them by like 130 yards that entire game. And I think there was some fluky stuff that happened. Like Jonathan Taylor fumbled at the Tennessee 20. I don't think that happens again. And I think that's a huge game-changing moment.
But Tennessee's gotten better since then.
Have they?
They always do.
I got a lot of questions about their O-line right now. That they're super banged up. They have one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. I think Indy's starting to get their pass game figured out, and that
I passed the ball 58 times last week.
yeah, and they scored 34 points. You can't argue with those results.
I mean, if you're relying on Matt Ryan at 63 years old to throw the ball 58 times, probably doesn't have a whole lot of those in him.
Yeah, maybe, but one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL in Tennessee, I'm willing to take my chances.
I mean, you think Michael Pittman's going to go out there for another 15 catches, 150 yards? Like,
maybe. Or maybe he spreads it more to Alec Pierce or Mo Alley Cox or that rookie tight end they have out of Virginia.
If there's one thing we know about Matt Ryan, he loves Mo Cox. So,
I just think this makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of fluky stuff in that first game against Tennessee that just the general variability is low to reoccur.
So he threw the ball to their running back 12 times. And now that running back is out for the season. Who knows if Jonathan Taylor's going to be back. So, I mean, you basically take away 10 completions and 100 yards if they don't have a running back to throw the ball to.
They'll have a running back on the field.
That can catch the ball for 10 times for 100 yards?
Probably at least 5 of them.
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Matt Ryan doing what he did last week. And I think all in all, Tennessee is a better team. Give me Tennessee minus 2.5. Call it a bet off.
Indy plus 3. Let's go.
No, you got to take 2.5 as well.
I already bet plus 3.
I got it at 2.5.
Well, you should have woken up earlier.
Why would I want it at minus 3?
Oh,
I like my minus 2.5.
You're right. So we both did the right thing.
Yeah, it's gonna end at like 2.75.
It's the same thing as 2.5.
Moving on. We have. Let's see. Do we have any other games we're on the same side on? No. So
we're both on Seattle.
Seattle versus the Los Angeles Clippers. Basketball season is getting fired up. Kawhi's back this year. People forget that John Wall's on that team now, and Seattle's coming down there without a basketball team to LA. Going to try to win a game in the Staples Center, which is now the Crypto Center. So it'll be interesting to see Geno Smith running point guard for him. DK running the 5. Him and Kawhi. That should be a great combination there. But no, what do you think about this one with Seattle going down to the Chargers of Los Angeles?
I just want to say, I just let you keep going with that because I know there's no Chargers fans out there to be upset. So
yeah, there is no Chargers fans out there, and I mean the Clippers are gonna be good this year. I mean, John Wall, Kawhi. I mean, I think those two can do some damage. Then I mean, you got playoff P on that team, but I mean, it's gonna be hard to shut down DK in the post. And then Geno can sling it, and Tyler Lockett might be like a sneaky sharpshooter.
I bet he is.
And then
he is. Hey, Blitzboy can probably do some damage as a power forward too.
Yeah, and then Noah Fant is. I mean, he can probably dominate down low.
Yeah. So Chargers have only covered 7. Or they've only won by 7 or more once this year. That was against Houston. I think Seattle has proven that they're a more frisky team than Houston, as frisky as Houston has been. And at the same time, Seattle has covered plus 7 in all their games but 1, which is against San Fran. San Fran has an elite run defense, which really kind of throws a wrench in the gears.
But you know who's good at running the football?
Who?
Kenneth Walker.
Exactly. The Ken Walker era has begun. And I don't think the Chargers' run defense can stand up with San Fran's run defense.
I don't think the Chargers' run defense can stand up.
Maybe
just
not.
In general. I mean,
so those two facts alone make me like Seattle plus 7. The Seattle fan base should travel well here.
People forget that Geno Smith didn't call back. I don't know what that means, but he says it all the time.
Didn't call back.
I don't know
If
what
you
that's
know,
in
you
reference
know.
to. Yeah, or
The
something like that.
Chargers.
I might be
Chargers
misquoting there,
Chargers are on a short week here. Monday Night Football.
and they're not good.
After overtime, Monday Night Football, and they're not good. Geno's balling out.
Yeah,
Will it end? I don't know, but I'm willing to ride it out with him.
yeah. Pete Carroll might be top 5 coach in the NFL still to this day.
Part of me almost likes the over in this game at 48, just because I think these are two teams who can put up points. But
Yeah, I mean Kenneth Walker will put up 48 by himself, but then you have to rely on somebody else on the field to get 1 point. I don't know if you can really do that.
I assume Keenan Allen will be back this week.
No,
but
we
I'm
killed
saying that
Keenan
for 3
Allen.
weeks, so he might just be dead.
We killed Keenan
I don't
Allen.
know.
The Shaving Points podcast killed Keenan Allen. We apologize.
That is not an admission of guilt.
We apologize in advance to his friends and family.
The one thing that makes me nervous in this game is Khalil Mack going up against 2 rookie offensive tackles. That's the only thing that really makes me hesitate here.
But those 2 guys are good, and one of them played in the SEC. Did Khalil Mack play in the SEC? No. Played at Buffalo.
Nope. Yeah.
Easy as that. Charles Cross is going to put his dick in the dirt. I promise you.
I mean, I can't say you're wrong because I used that same argument like 2 weeks ago. So.
No, but I mean, Khalil Mack's been good this year, but I mean, I think he is very comfortably earning a paycheck these days. He doesn't seem.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't seem to have the same fire he had when he got to Chicago. Let's just say that
he's on the back 9. I'm like definitely.
I don't think he's on
the fourth.
I don't think he's on the back 9. I think he knows he can get his numbers and turn it on when he needs to, and I think he's realized that he gets paid very well, but doesn't get paid enough to go out there and put the team on his back. He's going to go and do what he needs to do.
Yeah. I think he learned in Chicago if he goes out there and puts the team on his back all game, he's going to get hurt.
He's going to get hurt, and then the check ain't the same after that. So,
yeah.
And he's living in LA
but
now.
in the fourth quarter against Denver, he was making some plays against them.
Oh, no.
I was just like sitting there in my bedroom crying.
He turned it on in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I mean, you gave up a lot for him, and then you didn't even keep him for 5 years, so that's got to hurt.
Thanks, Ryan Pace.
But, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, you gave up a lot for him.
That doesn't make me feel better.
Okay, we'll just double check him. Moving on, we have. Okay, I've said it once. I've said it twice. I've said it 3 times. But I'm back in my bullshit. It took me 6 weeks. Maybe I'm late to the party, but back in my bullshit. Dirty Birds, them Falcons. Cincinnati's not good. Falcons might be frisky. Another quarterback situation where Mariota was on the verge of getting benched. And what does he go out there? He goes out there and slings it 11 times for 87 yards and a touchdown, and then puts 2 more rushing touchdowns on the board. Out there balling
My
out.
God, those are Justin Fields numbers.
Yeah, but making it look pretty. But no, yeah, I mean, they threw a touchdown to their tight end, which they have refused to do all year. He had 3 catches for 11 yards and a touchdown. Exactly what you want out of your first-round pick at tight end and Kyle Pitts. Drake London looking much, much better than I'd give him credit for in the offseason. That's probably my biggest, huge miss from the draft. I mean, if he never does anything else for the rest of his career, he's probably better than I thought he would be. But very good looking offense. Tyler Allgeier's looking all right. They're getting Cordell Patterson back in 3 weeks, I believe. But no, there's just a good, frisky team. Defense is playing well. well enough. So yeah, give me Atlanta. Give me the Dirty Birds +6 going to Cincinnati. There's not a whole lot to love about the Cincinnati team. Joe Mixon only has 1 touchdown on the year. He hasn't been looking great running the football. That offensive line still doesn't have their stuff together over there. Joe Burrow, his best game of the year last week, and it took everything that he had to win in the Superdome. And essentially a homecoming game for him and Jamar Chase. So, yeah, I love Cincinnati coming off of. It was one of those games where your 2 best players probably had a lot of emotional investment into that game with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow going back to the Dome. So when your 2 best players put it all out in the line and they both ball out, usually you might get some regression the next week. So yeah, give me Atlanta here +6. The only team in the NFL undefeated against the spread. I absolutely love this. You're giving me a touchdown with the hottest team in the league. I'll take it every day.
If this was 7, I'd be all over it.
It's 6. It's a touchdown.
Yeah, I know. If it was a touchdown and an extra point, I'd be all over
That's
it.
not what you said. You said a touchdown. So get on it.
I said if this was 7, I'd be all over it.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about your first half bet you have here. One of the stranger things I've seen on the board today. We have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Ravens. This is the same franchise. The Baltimore Browns and the Cleveland Ravens, they're the same team playing each other this week.
Yep, same exact team. Both have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, well, one of them left in the middle of the night to move to Baltimore, and then the other one got in a fight with Cincinnati about the rights to their team name.
To Paul Brown's namesake. So I got Baltimore -3.5 in the first half. They're -7 for the full game. I do not trust their defense in the second half anymore. So I'm just saying, you know what? This bet's going to be first half. On average, they've won the first half by 7 points. Cleveland's run defense is one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. I expect them to tear it up on the ground. They've already allowed over 1,000 yards rushing. That's like 175 yards a game. So they cannot stop the run. Baltimore's a top 5 rushing offense. Pretty simple math there. I think the Ravens should pound the Browns, take them to the woodshed.
Yeah,
pound them. Like I said, I do not trust their defense in the second half. So that's why I'm taking the first half bet.
I saw a dude on Twitter say his lock of the year is on this game for Donovan Peoples-Jones' first touchdown.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He said...
Does he have credibility?
No, he's got 0. That's his only tweet, and he has no followers. But he said he's from the future. I saw it on some big gambling person, and they said, I'm from the future, and if you want to make money, take Donovan Peoples-Jones for first touchdown this weekend in Browns Ravens. And then I went to his profile, and he created the profile yesterday. That was his only tweet. He followed nobody and was followed by nobody. And I was like, well, I mean, if I was from the future, I mean, that's what I would do too. Just go on Twitter and just give out fire winners.
But what about butterfly effect? Like, what did him putting out there change about the state of the current world?
I don't know, but I think I have to take Donovan Peoples-Jones for first touchdown this weekend.
I mean, probably have to. I'm going to. But just because I don't want to not hit that.
Yeah, I might just go do that right now. Let's just go see if we can find that. So I'm gonna see if I can even find it.
Yeah. So my last bet here, Miami -7. Pittsburgh is going down to Miami for that game. It's going to be in the mid-80s there. Scattered showers was the weather. I'm hoping that it gets some sun. If sun starts peeking out, it's going to be a tough day for Pittsburgh there, as we know about Miami Stadium, their built-in advantage. Miami might have beat Minnesota last week if it wasn't for Jalen Waddle's fumble. Like,
Yeah, it was rough.
they were.
Well,
they
it's not
were
out
there.
yet for the first touchdown, by the way.
And Tua still wasn't playing. So Tua's back this week. Armstead's still questionable. That's a big deal for their old line. But I think just getting Tua back alone is going to be enough to get the ball into favorable spots for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to run circles.
Yeah, honestly, I thought I took this game too, but I guess I didn't. But yeah, I love Miami in this game.
Yeah. I just don't trust the Steelers' offense to be able to keep up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, it's as
Even
simple as
if
that.
Mitchell Trubisky starts.
Yeah. So, the Steelers haven't scored over 23 points this year, and that was week 1 after like a month of game.
But that was Mitchell Trubisky. And he's
so
back now.
if we look at the ceilings and the floors of these teams with these quarterbacks playing, the Steelers' ceiling is 23, their floor is 14. Miami's ceiling is 42, their floor is 20.
Yeah.
So like I really like the way those numbers
But
are.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky's ceiling is 23.
But people forget that he's better than Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. That's why the Bears
I don't
took
think
him.
that's how. I don't think just does. So is Riot or is Jamarcus Russell better than everyone who went after him?
Yes. Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
Ryan Leaf is much better than everybody else in that draft class besides Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex Smith, twice as good as Aaron Rodgers will ever hope to be.
Well, that might be true.
I mean, if he wouldn't have broke his leg in half, who knows how many Super Bowls he would have.
Yeah, facts.
We didn't get
cold hard facts.
We didn't get enough sample size on him.
I mean, Tua is better than Herbert.
That might be true. I might take Tua right now over Herbert. Herbert is exactly what Phillip Rivers was. They're the same quarterback. They look good. They put up numbers, but they consistently choke. Can't win big games. I mean, the biggest game he's won in his career is the game last night against Denver, probably.
Yeah.
Which Denver tried to give you that game 150 different times, and you just refused to win. And the only reason why you won is because Denver fumbled a punt. Did you see the overtime stats for that game?
No,
There's 4 punts in an overtime game. And the only reason why the Chargers won.
I do give Herbert more of a pass this year because
Why?
he's playing with broken ribs and he's just getting hit.
Everybody plays with broken ribs. Jordan Poyer is playing with broken ribs, and he had to drive from Buffalo, which is basically Canada, all the way down to Kansas City just because he can't get in an airplane because the pressure in the cabin was too much for his ribs. And he drove his ass 16 and a half hours down to Kansas City to play a football. I mean, you're a quarterback.
Hey,
they don't even let you barely get touched. Like, it's 2022.
I don't know.
Broken
you get hit as a quarterback though, right in the ribs.
It's 2022. Don't give me that.
And the argument isn't whether I give Poyer a break too for playing with broken
Tony
ribs.
Romo.
That has nothing to do with
Tony
it.
Romo led a 17-point comeback against the San Francisco 49ers with broken ribs and a punctured lung when they had a top 5 defense in the league. That's a man's man right there.
I applaud him for that too. I'm just saying I give him a little bit of a break because of what he's playing through that.
I mean, he's okay.
I think your criticism's very valid.
My criticism.
No, I'm not trying to invalidate it. I'm just saying I do give him a little bit of a break.
My criticism is that he's just comfortably a top 7 quarterback, but everybody was crowning him as the next great one. And when you still have Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in the league with him, like, he is the Phillip Rivers to Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Oh, their offense is a joke. It's like they have a cannon and they're using it like a water pistol.
And they have Mike Williams, who's one of the best deep threat wide receivers in the game, and they just run slants with him. They have Everett, who looks like a very promising young tight end that they just refuse to get the ball to. They have Austin Eckler, who they overuse consistently. You have Joshua Kelly, who looks like he could turn into something that they just refuse to get the ball to. And then Keenan Allen will probably come back this week and get 25 targets. Like,
Yeah, that offense needs help. Like they're what they try to do during games is not
So
aggressive enough. It's
just,
not they're not letting Herbert play to his strengths. Like it's not.
maybe
It's
maybe
safe.
they fire Brandon Staley and go hire Cliff Kingsbury so they can actually go 500.
Maybe.
Because I don't know if they can go 500 with this team.
I mean, hey, their debt. We said it in the preseason. They were probably one of the best rosters in the NFL, but their depth was woefully lacking, and they got injured, and now they're really leaking at the seams.
Yeah, but on the Brett side, at least they don't have any fans to be upset about it because, as we know, is well documented on this show that the Chargers don't have fans.
Yeah,
Justin Herbert.
Wrong about
Justin
that.
Herbert has a ton of fans. Justin Herbert
Yeah.
fans are psycho. Justin Herbert fans act like they've never seen a quarterback do the things that he does. And I was like, he's a fine average quarterback. He's Phillip Rivers.
That's how you know they're not Chargers fans because they didn't see Dan Fouts and Phillip Rivers.
Oh yeah, Dan Fouts. Yeah, man, the Chargers.
That's a throwback, right?
Buried in mediocrity. At least nobody cares.
Well, no, more than mediocrity, but below greatness.
Yeah, above average.
Yeah,
Just buried in above average. Just like always, they're always almost great.
yeah.
If they were in the NFC, they would be contenders.
They'd probably be in the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, you do have Geno Smith to deal with in the NFC, so
Yeah, I mean, Gino's a superstar.
hey, they might win that division. But
I hope they do, man. You know what? I was saying earlier, some NFC team that no one expects is going to like reach the Super Bowl. It's going to be the Seahawks. Just watch.
yeah, did we ever give a pick on that game? We got Seattle in that game, by the way, +7.
Yeah. See, yeah.
I don't know if we ever got to that. Did we ever get to that?
I think we did. Yeah.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Seattle +7. Lock it in. Geno Smith.
Yeah, because you talked about the Clippers a bunch.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever got.
I don't know how we got back on the Chargers though.
I don't know. Moving on. That was a tangent. Moving on. We have the Houston football team versus the Las Vegas football team. I'm taking Houston here. I think they're a good, not great football team. I don't think they're going to go to Las Vegas and win this game. But nothing that the Raiders have done so far this season makes me think that they can beat a well-coached, decent defense, good running game team by 7 points. I think the Raiders go out and win this game 24-21. They get an easy win. They're probably covering most of the game. Houston makes a late touchdown. I think the Raiders are the better team. I think Houston's good enough to keep it close. I don't think the Raiders can blow them out. I think Houston can score 17 to 23 points, and I think that's enough to cover 7. So I'm solely taking Houston for that fact. I love the way Dameon Pierce is playing. Davis Mills has been playing all right. But yeah, I think this Houston team's good enough to cover 7 here.
Another road dog coming off a bye. I mean, I think it's a decent play just off that alone.
Yeah. And I mean, they've looked good. I mean, you have Raiders coming off a bye too, so you have 2 teams coming off a bye here. But yeah, I mean, I think Raiders will win this game comfortably, but not cover 7. That's kind of how I feel about this game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about taking this one too. I just didn't end up pulling the trigger on it.
Yeah.
And I will say, my bet sheet's a little light this week. I will have additional plays out Sunday morning on Twitter.
I might as well. I don't know. I don't really love
as long as the so on Sunday mornings I go look at where the cash versus ticket spreads are and make some final decisions and where some of the spreads are, and I usually put those out on Twitter. I'll probably have a handful of those this week, assuming the numbers are favorable.
All right, last game that I have on my card. We already went through Q's card. I have the Detroit Football Lions versus the Dallas Football Cowboys, and this one.
This is a battle of the Thanksgiving teams outside of Thanksgiving.
Outside of Thanksgiving, two of the most historic franchises ever. You have Dallas Cowboys, one of the most winningest franchises ever, 5 Super Bowls versus the lowly Detroit Lions that we never sleep on, but historically maybe the worst franchise. They have to be the worst franchise in the NFL historically. They're one of the oldest.
Barry Sanders
And Calvin Johnson. I mean, if you just make a super team out of them, they might be top 5. But I mean, they have arguably the greatest running back and wide receiver to ever play the game in their franchise.
And Ndamukong Suh.
If you call him a Lion, I guess you have to call him a Lion. He was there for 9 years. I mean, a lot of talent comes out of there. Anyway, you know how much we love the Lions on this podcast. You know they can score. Jared Goff go out there and sling it. Cowboys #1 defense in the league, getting Dak Prescott back. Detroit's defense is the worst in the league, getting Dak back. That running game has been elite this year. Ezekiel Elliott is cooking. I like Dallas to score at least 30 in this game, and I think Detroit can put up 20 on that Dallas defense. I think they can be the second team this year to put up 20 against that Dallas defense. I think that offense is very much embarrassed by their last outing versus the New England Football Patriots, that they're going to go out there and they're going to put out a good showing versus the #1 defense in the league. And Dallas has only allowed over 20 points one time, and that was this past week versus Philadelphia, where you can argue that the defense really only gave up 14 points and the other 10 were kind of just given to Philly. But that's neither here nor there. They scored their points. They did what they needed to do. But yeah, I mean, I think Detroit can, especially later in the game when Dallas may have a comfortable lead, go up there and put some garbage time points up, which is what I called in the preseason with this offense when we love these Lions players for fantasy football. I said there's going to be games where they're getting blown out and they're going to put up 20 points in garbage time, and then all of a sudden you're going to have Jared Goff as a top 5 fantasy quarterback, and Monroe St. Brown's a top 5 fantasy wide receiver, DeAndre Swift top 5 fantasy running back, and so far they're all true. So yeah, I think Detroit could score late in this game, and I think Dallas scores over 30. So give me over 48 and Detroit Dallas in this game. Hopefully I don't look like a fool.
I think that's a good bet. I mean, that's not one that I considered, but
the worst defense in the league.
Like the feeling I had with the Lions this week, so I played it safe.
You have the worst defense in the league. Dak's coming back. He's gonna have to make a statement. I mean, I think in Dak's mind, Cooper Rush had a great second half versus Philly. In Dak's mind, he's got to go out there and ball out. CeeDee Lamb got to go out there and ball out. Noah Brown's been looking good. Michael Gallup really hasn't gotten going yet. Zeke has been looking fantastic. Tony Pollard's been looking decent, not great. I mean, Tony Pollard is the epitome of boom or bust every time he touches the ball. Like, if you take out Tony Pollard's negative rushes and his rushes over 50 yards, I think he averages exactly 1 yard a rush. He either gets tackled in the backfield or goes for 75. There's no in between. So, and then Ezekiel is just very quietly rushing for 5.6 yards a carry right now.
We told you he's going too low in fantasy drafts.
I mean, his fantasy numbers really haven't been there this year. His fantasy numbers aren't as good as they were last year when he was rushing for 2.3 yards a carry. He's getting less touches and he's more productive. And he finally got in the end zone this past week. But yeah, I think he's gonna have a big second half of the season. But yeah, I mean
Lions.
I don't know if you can buy low on Zeke right now, but I mean his fantasy numbers. I think he's only gotten over 10 points one time this year. If you can find a Zeke owner that's low on Zeke, where you can maybe go get if you were the one to pick up Jeff Wilson, and Jeff Wilson's been putting up 14, 15 points a game, and somebody that doesn't realize that Jeff Wilson's about to go to the bench, you throw Jeff Wilson in a package with some no-name like Garrett Wilson or something like that and go get a Zeke, I think Zeke's going to have a monster second half of the season. So just a little bit of fantasy advice. If you can go pick up Zeke on the cheap, I would do it in a heartbeat right now.
And so Detroit's coming off a bye, and they were pretty banged up going into it. Amon-Ra was banged up.
Amon-Ra was banged up. DeAndre Swift was banged up.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Williams was banged up.
Jonah
Ragna-
Jackson on their O
Frank
line.
Ragnow was banged up. Jonah Jackson was banged up. Jeff Okuda was a little banged up, who's actually having very sneakily a pretty good year.
Yeah,
Jeff Okuda's been
surprisingly.
playing good football for him.
One bright
so.
spot on that defense.
Jamison Williams. I think this will be Jamison Williams' first game, which
Yeah.
I've been saying it.
And they
This
should be getting a
kid
lot of
is
these guys who were
special.
banged. They should be getting a lot of these guys who were banged up back. And say that again. Sorry, I was talking over you.
Jamison Williams should be back this week, or not back, but making his rookie debut. This kid is special. This kid is Tyreek Hill type talent, but maybe a little bit bigger than Tyreek Hill. This kid could open up an offense like you've never seen before, other than Tyreek Hill, probably. Probably would have ran faster than Jalen Waddle at the combine had he not had a torn ACL. I'm so excited for this kid. And with a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown that can get open anywhere on the field, you put him opposite of a guy that can just burn an entire defense with a guy like Jared Goff at quarterback, who's good, not